Hello, this is, well, I haven't really decided on a name for this channel yet, so, I'll go by my real name, Justin, for now, but, yeah, I'm not using a voice modifier, this is just how I sound. It's currently a little bit after 7 at night. I'm pretty much the only one home, and I'm gonna just make a video stating my opinion. Because, again, this is just an opinion. You do not have to agree with me. You do not have to tell me that I'm wrong or that I'm right. This is my opinion and how I view things. And if you don't like that, you can click away from my video now, because I really don't care. And if you, flag my video, okay, I'll delete it and just remake it. It's not the end of the world. So, anyway, I'm going to be talking about the very controversial Black Lives Matter and feminism. Well, first of all, feminism, like a lot of what I've seen about with feminists, is that they sit around ranting and raving about how guys are sexist and guys do this and guys do that and guys can't do this and guys. That sounds pretty sexist to me. If you're so against sexism, why do you blame everything on guys? There aren't sexist girls that exist. I've seen plenty of them. And honestly, a lot of people who advocate for feminism have no idea what the fuck they're talking about, in my opinion. Because I get girls want equal rights, but a lot of the reason why there's different levels of pay in similar jobs, like being a doctor, is because guys are more likely to be the person who cuts open your head and looks at your brain, while girls are more likely to be the doctor that looks after families and kids and things like that. Another thing. Video games. I watched a video where this lady was trying to talk shit about the way a person in a tribe was dressed. And said that tribal members do not wear revealing clothing. Some tribes literally walk around naked. There are tribes out there currently, like right now, that walk around completely in the nude. And this girl is saying that somebody wearing a semi-revealing outfit was unrealistic and that was not portraying their culture properly. And that apparently everybody who is tribal has magical powers. No, in the video game, the person was using drugs and hallucinogens to create the illusion of power. So, yeah. And half the time, majority of the people who play games like that are girls. I've honestly met more girls who play video games than I have guys. And I'm in a lot of online gaming communities, and I'm in a lot of online communities in general. I talk to a lot of people online all the time, and majority of the people I find are girls, whether they have a guy profile picture, a name, whether they act like a guy or not. When I actually talk to them in an actual public voice chat, without voice changers, they turn out to be girls. Now, that's not discounting the fact that some people identify as male. I'm literally just talking physical gender here, not what you identify as, not what sexuality you are, your physical, actual gender. And I will be the first to admit that majority of my friends were lesbian, or transgender, or gay, or bi, or whatever. I've hung out with that community pretty much my whole life. I'm not part of it, but I support people who are. And I will be the first to say, go fuck yourself when somebody starts ragging on gay people, because it doesn't change who they are as a person. All it changes is who they're attracted to. They're still whoever they are as a person. It doesn't change anything just because they're attracted to somebody else. Honestly, if people realized that being attracted to somebody doesn't change who you are, there'd be a lot less problems with the LGBT community. Now on to the Black Lives Matter thing. That in and of itself is a racist statement. All lives matter. Not just African American lives, not just Latino lives, not just Puerto Rican. All lives matter. I will admit that I am male. I am white. I am currently 19. I am a college student. I am of average height, and I weigh around 190 pounds. I have been bullied and treated with racial slurs, and literally people have been racist towards me my entire life and sexist towards me just because I'm a white male. Like, there's a stereotype about white men that because they're white, they can't fight. I've picked up people twice my size and thrown them across rooms. I can break bones with a single punch. I know how to fight. I know how to throw a punch. I know how to kick. I know how to do all these things. What you look like what your apparent race is, has nothing to do with who you are as a person. And technically, there is only one race. And I'm gonna get a lot of shit in my comment section for that one statement, but there is only one race. The human race. Like, among humans, there is only one race. Robots exist. Artificial intelligence are becoming so advanced that soon they'll be able to feel emotion and pick up on the emotions of people around them in a way that even the most trained psychologists can't. They'll be able to pick up on the pheromones the body releases when it feels certain emotions. And while that can be terrifying for some people who are afraid of robots, I think it's pretty fucking awesome. Like, I'm big into technology. I'm a huge nerd. Have been my whole life, and I also got bullied for that, but that's another rant entirely. Because I don't look like a nerd. I'm wide, I weigh over 190 pounds. While I do wear glasses, they're not the stereotypical nerd glasses. I have long hair. I look like I could pick you up and rip you in half. Like, physically. Like, I could. I look like that. And so, when I was in school, I had this really bad reputation for being a violent psychopath. And then when people found out I was a nerd, they started bullying me. So I lashed out, and then I got the reputation of a psychotic nerd who will beat the shit out of you. And that made even more people bully me. So, and I got called a school shooter because statistically more white males are school shooters than anybody else. So because I'm white and male, I must be a school shooter. Because, that totally makes sense. It's not racist at all. It's also not racist when African Americans call a white guy a cracker, which is a racial slur for a white person. But if a white person calls an African American a Negro or a nigga, it's racist. But they can call each other it all the time. So, racism is apparent in everywhere. And it's stupid because we're all human. Where you come from does not change what race you are. You're human. You're a Homo sapien. You are of the human race. Your gender doesn't matter. Your religion doesn't matter. Your sexuality doesn't matter. You're a person. And you deserve to be treated with the basic level of respect that everyone deserves to be treated with. Outside of that, respect is earned, not given. You get a base level of respect just because you're a person. That's it. People aren't going to worship the ground you walk on just because you tell them to. Respect like that is earned. And a lot of people have a problem with me because of that mentality that I have. Where if you want my respect, you have to earn it. Because, well, everybody wants respect, but nobody wants to respect anybody. Everybody wants to be treated fairly, but they don't want to treat anybody else fairly. Everybody wants to matter, but they don't give a shit about anybody else. And this is the problem I have with society in general. Everybody wants change, but no one's willing to become the change they want to see. You want to stop racism? Stop being racist. Against all people. Not just African Americans, not just Latinos, not just Puerto Ricans, not any of that. Everyone. Stop being racist against everyone. Including white people, because there is racism against them too. And if you want people to stop being sexist towards the opposite gender. Men are sexist, women are sexist. It happens all the time. Men can be racist no matter what their race. Women can be racist no matter what their race. And no matter what your sexual orientation, you can have prejudice against people. No matter what gender you identify as, you're still a person. No matter what sexuality you have, you're still a person. You have flaws, you make mistakes. But if you want to see change, you have to embody the change you wish to see. Because if you don't, you're not leading by example. You're doing do as I say, not as I do. And nobody's going to listen to you. Respect is earned. Think about it. If somebody walks into a country and says, I now own this country, you all have to listen to me, what are people going to do? They're going to rebel. But if you go into a country and you earn the respect of the people that live there, you work with them, you struggle with them, you go through the things that they go through on a day-to-day basis with them, and then you travel through the ranks of that society, whatever it is, till you become their leader. They'll respect you as a leader. They'll listen to what you have to say. But if you just walk in and say you're in charge, nobody's going to listen. Nobody's going to care. Because respect is earned, not given. And I've seen a lot of ranters talk about this, like Just a Robot talks about this. With another one of his robot buddies, I can't remember the name right now. But that's because I'm surprised I can remember Just the Robot's name, and I'm subscribed to both of them, so it's whatever. But I'm really bad with names. If I had it written down in front of me or I scripted this, I would have known their names. But it's like 7:30 at night almost, and I got the idea to make this video like just now. I'm gonna do some editing and getting rid of certain parts and all that crap, but this is by far my first rant, and I picked two of the most controversial things to talk about because I've noticed that there's a really big problem with that right now. Also, Black Lives Matter should not be a thing. All lives matter. When a cop kills somebody, it doesn't matter what their race is. When somebody gets murdered, it doesn't matter what their religion, what their race, what a person died. You shouldn't make it about race. You shouldn't make it about sexuality. You shouldn't make it about anything. A person just died. You should care more about the fact that there was a loss of life than what kind of life was lost. Like in Florida, all those people who died in that school shooting, I don't care what a single one of those people's race was. I don't care what their religion was. I don't care about their gender, their sexuality, any of it. I care about the fact that they were good people that died. And yeah, majority of school shooters are white people, but that's because white people are usually the ones that get bullied to the point where they snap and become school shooters. You don't see any African American school shooters very often, because majority of the time, they're the ones doing the bullying towards white people and being racist towards white people and pushing them to those kinds of things. Not always. There are some school shooters who do it because they were bullied growing up and they come back to the school as adults and shoot up the whole school. There are people who just snap and decide to kill people in a school. But a lot of the times, if it's a student shooting up a school, it's because they were bullied incessantly by people and tormented and tortured. So they strike back. I'm not trying to victimize the killers. I'm not trying to feel sorry for them. I'm just saying that there's two sides to every story, and you need to realize that some people are just as guilty as the person who did the deed for pushing them to it. Because, you know, if somebody hires a hitman to kill someone, the person hiring the hitman is just as guilty as the hitman for that person's death. So why aren't the people who bully and torment these people who are shooting up schools just as guilty as the person shooting up the school? Why aren't the people bullying people till they commit suicide just as guilty as the person who stabs and murders someone, you're still getting somebody killed. You might not be doing it personally, but that person dies. Doesn't matter who they are or what they look like, they're dead. They're not coming back tomorrow. You're not going to see that person ever again. Bullying people is a horrible, heartless, cruel thing to do. And you should never do it. Ever. The reason suicide rates are so high in this country, and the reason violence is so rampant in this country, is because nobody cares about anybody but themselves. Everybody's always looking for that next big thing to elevate themselves above everybody else, instead of trying to help the people around them and make the world a better place. And it really pisses me off when that happens. Because all these people preach about peace and wanting to work together and love and all that bullshit. And then they walk down the street and they degrade people because, oh, that person's white, he must be racist. That's a racist statement. That because someone is white, that they are racist. That's a stereotype. It's rude. It's ignorant. And to quote a song, ignorance breeds fear, which breeds hate, which breeds violence. So if you want to be an ignorant, rude bastard and treat people like shit, be prepared for that to come back and haunt you. It's gonna happen to you too. If you want to be racist towards somebody, it's gonna happen to you. You want to say that because somebody's white, they aren't able to do certain things, or because somebody's white, they're this, or they're that, then you're being racist. If you want to say that because somebody's black, they like fried chicken, you're being racist. If you want to say because somebody's Asian, they have squinty-ass eyes, do karate, and eat rice all day, you're racist. If you're saying that because somebody's Spanish, they're an illegal immigrant, you're racist. Racism exists in all forms and shapes. Just because white people did it for the longest, and we enslaved people, does not mean that racism against us isn't a possibility. It's the same thing with guys not being able to be raped. That's bullshit. I know women who could literally pick me up and throw me. And I weigh over 190 pounds. How are you going to tell me that just because you're a guy, you'd be able to overpower a female who's trying to rape you? Or another male who's trying to rape you? Men can be rape victims just like women can. And, fun fact, ignoring race and going straight to gender, more than 90% of police brutality accounts are against males, not females. So, maybe cops are sexist. But oh wait, some of them are men and some of them are women. How can they both be sexist? Because if cops are sexist, that's a general statement meaning they're all sexist. And by that logic, you'd be saying that women can be sexist too. But oh wait, I thought sexism was only a male thing. And there are some girls who bring some of the stereotypes that get put on them on themselves. I've seen girls walk around in a strapless bra with a jacket over it unbuttoned and booty shorts so small they look like panties. And because of that, people call them a whore because they're dressing like one. You can dress however you want, but that does not mean people will not judge you for it. And that doesn't mean they're being sexist just because you dress a certain way and that way of dress is associated with something negative. But at the same time, you shouldn't bully them for it either. If somebody dresses that way because that's how they're comfortable, that's their thing. That's how they're comfortable. Accept it and move on. But you also need to realize that not a lot of people share my mentality. A lot of people out there, they see somebody dressed like a whore and they're gonna call them one. Just because of the way they look. A lot of people look at me and think I'm either a football player, or I'm one of those goth kids who hates everything, or I'm emo, or because of the music I listen to, I'm a Satanist. Or because I like the color black, I'm a Satanist. No. I don't follow any religion. Religion in general pisses me off, but that's a rant for another day. On top of all of that, people don't seem to comprehend the fact that all these groups that are being made, like the LGBT community having people that set rules and there's parades, throwing this in other people's faces is like shoving religions down somebody's throat. If somebody doesn't want to be gay or doesn't want to be around people who are gay, that's their choice. It's ignorant and rude, but that's their choice. We have the right to freedom of expression, freedom of speech, freedom of religion. You can't force people to think the way you want them to. It's illegal. It is literally against the law. So, as much as you want to sit there and say you're gonna make change, you make change by being the change you want to see. If you want to get rid of racism, don't be racist. Treat everybody the same way. They're people. They're human beings. Treat them that way. Give them respect that they deserve as a human being and nothing more, nothing less. That's how you're going to get rid of racism. Not making groups saying that one specific race's life matters. Because that's bullshit. Everyone's life matters. It's not Black Lives Matter. It's not Asians' lives matter. It's not white lives matter. It's not Latino or Puerto Rican or frickin' Portuguese or Russian or any of it. Everyone's lives matter. We're all human beings. We all should take care of ourselves and each other and treat each other with fucking respect. Because you know what? We're all gonna die one day. And in death, we are all equal. I don't care who you are in life. I don't care what you do with your life. When you die, you're gonna be the same as everybody else. Dead. In death, we are all equals. Our life experience, our money, our power, it means nothing. Because you're dead. And you know what? People question my sanity when I say things like that. They ask if I'm depressed or if I'm suicidal. I'm not. But people need to realize that we're not all that different. White people, black people, Asian people, Russian people, Portuguese people, we're all people. We all have opinions, views, we all have families. We all have somebody that cares about us. Somewhere out there is someone who cares about every single person out there. Whether it's your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your girlfriend, your friends, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, your great-great-grandparents. There's somebody out there that cares about you. And you know what? Good. Everybody needs somebody who cares about them. I don't care who they are. Because honestly, I wish more people actually cared about others. The world is a really messed up, dark place. And if we're not careful, the human race isn't going to survive another few generations. We're not going to make it if we don't get our heads out of our ass and stop with this stupid bullshit and finally accept the fact that we're all human. So why not just fucking get along? We're all stuck with each other until we die. No one race is superior to the other. Just because you're, say, American doesn't mean you're better than if you're Asian. You're not better. You're still a person. Where you come from does not change who you are. It changes your culture. It changes how you look. But it does not change the fact that you are a person. And people need to understand that. And yeah, the background is I'm going to hell in so many different religions. And you want to know why? Because my worldview is that everyone is equal. Nobody's better than anybody else. And most religions, they don't like that. So yeah, I'm going to hell in pretty much every religion to date. Everybody to me is equal. There is no God up on high looking down at us saying only white people are going to go to heaven, or only Muslims are going to go to heaven, or only Jewish people are going to go to heaven. There are no gods saying that you have to pray to me or you're gonna go to hell. Because honestly, if there is a God out there, he doesn't give a shit what we do. That's why there's rapists and murderers and pedophiles and all that shit going on. If there was a God out there, and he actually gave a shit what we were doing, he or she, because gods are technically genderless beings of omnipotent power. If there is a God out there, where the fuck are they? Because honestly, if there is a God, they don't care about us, and they don't care what we're doing, or what's going on. Because if they did, it wouldn't be going on. We wouldn't have nuclear warheads and a threat of nuclear war hanging over our heads 24/7 that no one seems to realize about. We wouldn't have racism, we wouldn't have sexism, we wouldn't have school shootings, we wouldn't have murderers, we wouldn't have pedophiles, we wouldn't have rapists. Because if there was a God up there that cared about us, those people wouldn't get a chance to exist. There wouldn't be people who abuse and beat the crap out of children. There wouldn't be a need for prisons. Because if there was a God, people wouldn't have to resort to crime to be happy. And on that note, I'm going to end the video. And I'm going to get all kinds of hate for this video. And I understand that. Let me know what you guys think about my opinion. And how you guys feel about what I have to say. Because honestly, I want to know.